All right. Why consoles are going extinct.
Since the creation of video games, no piece of hardware has been more important than the console. It brought video games to our homes in the 80s.
Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo Entertainment System?
It popularized them in the
Rob.
90s.
16-bit Super Nintendo.
And transformed home entertainment in the 2000s. For decades, consoles have pushed the world of gaming and technology in.
Bro, like my first console was like, was it a PS1? Like the one that I owned was a PS1 and it was like a hand-me-down. But the first one I played on, I think, was an NES or an SNES. With that, you had that like orange and gray gun to play Duck Hunt, and then you had that other, and then you just had like that rectangle to play Mario on. Those were like my first interactions with the video games.
To the future, with many consoles being combined to create supercomputers for governments or banned from certain countries because of the console's advanced technology.
And the PlayStation 2
Weaponized consoles, what?
War-related media coverage.
Every console generation seemed to propel us forward, bringing something new, powerful, or innovative. But in the past 10 years, consoles have fallen behind, with many people jumping ship to PCs and phones. What was once a console-dominated industry has now become a place where consoles sit in third place.
Dang, that's actually news to me. I thought everybody loved consoles and shit, dude. Like, it's hard to like own a PC because they're like a little bit more, well, not a little bit, they're way more expensive than a console. You're talking like thousands of dollars, depending on like what kind of grade you get. You get like a, like, I don't know, some like $1,000 thing. You can get like a $2,000 thing, or maybe like a $500 PC, or maybe or a $3,000 PC. It just depends. I had like when I first built my two PCs that I have now, I had to do like so much research because I wasn't brought up in a family that was like computer literate. I just had to do everything myself, and it was annoying. My first computer, it took me like 3 weeks to like build because I didn't like really get how to do it. Like I had the manuals and whatnot, but I still was like just unsure. And I didn't have like the right tools, and it's like an alarmingly long amount of time to like build a PC. But I mean, hey, everybody's got their own thing that they got to do. But my second one didn't take that long. I did my second one in like a day.
Slowly losing market share year after year, with many investors telling new game makers to avoid consoles.
We sit in these seats as venture capitalists, and I think if a founder came to us and said they were going to try and start a game and ship it on console, we would be like, what? Why?
But back in the old days, it wasn't PC versus console versus phone. It was console versus console. And these console wars brought us the greatest gaming hardware generation after generation. But the constant battle for dominance has driven the very thing we've been fighting over to its grave. And Microsoft is behind it.
Game console wars.
Oh, really?
Console wars.
Like console wars and console wars.
The console wars. Are you an Xbox bro or were you a PlayStation bro? I had a PlayStation 2 and an Xbox. And then I had a what do you call it? The Xbox 360, but I didn't have a PS3. My buddy had a PS3, so if I wanted to play like one of those games, I just go to his house. So, yeah. And then my other buddy had a GameCube, so if I wanted to play Super Smash, I would just go to his house and we play Super Smash on hours end.
Wars.
Real quick, before I dive in, we need to talk about today's sponsor, NordVPN. Sponsors are important for the channel because half of all of our sponsor revenue goes to help fund indie developers. And unlike so many sponsors that have reached out, I actually reached out to Nord myself. As someone who travels for work, I sit in multiple airports every month. And usually my internet service in there is garbage. So instead, I spend hours doing work on the very sketchy public airport internet. But thanks to Nord, I'm able to use that airport Wi-Fi safely because I don't have to worry about my data or passwords being compromised. I just flip a switch and I'm good to go. So with the Going Indie discount, you can get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan by checking out the link below. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get access to all these great services. So as someone that has used multiple VPNs over the years, I highly suggest NordVPN, and I want to thank them for sponsoring us and helping us fund indie developers. Long before I was around, the first console war began. A war waged by Atari and Intellivision. Although the Atari was the first and is the most well-known.
That's like, oof. That's some like in the beginning type shit right there, dude.
The Intellivision had better graphics and sounds.
and found in television played much more like real baseball.
Looks more
Oh my god, it's like the woo, like the ball's going, but it's like from like an old timey cartoon, like woo, and then you get the clap of the ball in the glove.
like he should be comparing whiskeys, not game consoles, but this was the beginning of the console wars, and the smear commercials by Mattel were actually working. In the 80s, the Intellivision had a real chance of competing with Atari, and as a result of the competition, the console market was on the rise. Sadly though, as home gaming was just getting a
Atari.
foothold, crisis struck, and the video game market crashed in 1983. The gaming market was saturated with low-quality games, and people were more interested in purchasing
Dang, that's kind of crazy to think that video games had like an early crash like that, in that once a game came out, everyone was just rushing to copy it. Kind of like how battle royales are today, or free-to-play games are today.
personal computers. Why buy $1,000 console
Or mobile
to play
games.
this when you could play something just as bad on a PC? Personal computers were more of a versatile option with the
Look
ability
at this!
to play games and
Wow!
work. A problem we will see pop up years later. But with the fall of the console, home video game revenues went from $3.2 billion in 1983 to $100 million in 1985.
Oh
A
dang!
97% drop. So the first console war was won by Atari, but in reality, it was more like mutually assured destruction.
That's
Video games
crazy.
were looking more like a fad, filling up landfills and lost to obscurity like the original console makers. But then a console rose from the ashes.
Dang!
From a playing card company we all know today, Nintendo. Nintendo
Oh.
really was the savior of gaming. Because when they released the NES in 1985,
The
it
gun.
completely shifted people's perception of video games. So many games produced at this time were expensive garbage, and Nintendo didn't want another ET fiasco.
Right.
Every Nintendo title had to be quality, and when the NES released, it blew people away.
That's cool. Nintendo just plugging forward and being on the forefront of quality. That's so
The
cool.
gameplay, the stories, the characters, practically every prominent Nintendo IP came from this generation, and it was actually affordable. The NES was gold. Every kid was pleading to get this thing for Christmas.
Oh,
Nintendo
yeah.
had a
That was me.
complete
That was the
monopoly
gun.
on gaming, and
And
with
Duck
only
Hunt.
a $300 price tag, people were happy to buy.
Shut up and take my money.
Other companies
Yeah.
saw this success and wanted in. One company in particular.
Oh, I forgot I had this one too, bro. That for me, I had Sonic the Hedgehog on this thing, and I got so frustrated with Sonic. Those fucking underwater levels, dude. I swear to God, I still remember that music. It was like, and then it sped up. Oh my God, I was so frustrated.
Their steps into the ring against the console king. And they
But then when you were going fast, or like there were points where you could hit like a spring or a pinball thing, you build up speed, run back, and then you like just zoom forward to the rest of the level, and you wanted to see like how fast that you could like maintain your speed. That was like peak dopamine for me as a little kid.
did it in style.
What Nintendo?
So with the release of Sega Genesis in 1989 and the media campaigns on full blast, the second console war began. These two Japanese companies fought for dominance, each fighting over
What the-
specs, gameplay, and IP.
That's so weird.
Sega creating Sonic to rival the mustache
Yep,
bomber.
I had
Commercials,
that.
Advertisements, bits. These companies fought incessantly, and it seemed like the console industry would be dominated by Sega and Nintendo forever, until
Yeah.
a third Japanese company entered the arena.
The PlayStation. Oh my God.
When Sony joined the brawl, the company jumped to first place immediately.
Yep.
The PlayStation was incredible. It was more powerful than anything out there, and it used CD-ROMs, not cartridges. for its
Power.
games. On top of great hardware, they had a top-notch cast of characters, ranging from Cloud to Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
Your worst nightmare has arrived.
And these like commercials, dude. When like back in the day, those type of commercials, like they were wild, man. They were just like off the cuff of what you would see today. Any type of video game commercial you see today is just gonna be like some like rendered thing that's like in the game, and it's like, hey guys, play our game, and then you might get like Megan Fox in there once in a while. But back in the day when nobody knew how to like market video games, they had mascots. People like just jumping in like a suit of the thing and doing all these like goofy things. Like you remember, I remember there was a like a Super Smash commercial where it was like Mario, Pikachu, was it Link and Donkey Kong, and I think maybe Kirby. I don't remember, but it would be like them frolicking like together, and then the scene would cut, and they would just be like punching each other. and shit, and then it would cut to like some gameplay of Super Smash, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I'm like, oh, I gotta get this game.
Sony was geared to win the next console war, and this Mexican standoff caused Sega to fall behind, leaving
Yeah.
the console industry to never return.
Is that number 2?
Through most of the 80s and 90s, the Japanese dominated the console industry. From Nintendo to Sega to Sony, no one else dared to compete or they died trying. But then Microsoft and Bill Gates did the unthinkable. They not only entered the console market, but they entered it with this.
What
the hell is that?
Although the original
Yep.
Xbox looked like a green monstrosity when you
Yeah,
compared
this thing was massive and heavy. I got like the Halo edition one, like right down there still. It's like green and you can kind of see through it, and it's a Master Chief, and oh, it's so good.
to the PS2, the green box was powerful, way more powerful than the PS2 or GameCube. But it was new and it didn't have that many games, so it sold only 24 million copies.
Oh, dang.
Which sounds pretty good until you compare it with the
With the PlayStation 2 of 157 million. God dang. That's crazy.
PlayStation 2. But the Xbox did good enough for Microsoft to greenlight the next one. And thank goodness they did. Because the next console generation would be the biggest fight in console history.
Oh, yeah.
This is your new Xbox 360.
Now on to PlayStation 3.
I owned every one of these consoles, and each one had something I couldn't resist.
Oh, yeah.
Technology
I have so many hours on Xbox 360. It's ridiculous.
in the PS3 was amazing. Blu-ray DVD players at the time were close to $1,000,
Yeah.
and you got one built in the PS3 for only $600.
Yeah, PlayStation had the Blu-ray, and Xbox eventually had to get like the red version, and it was called HD DVD, and it was about the same thing as Blu-ray. But I think HD DVDs just like didn't hit it off, and Blu-ray stayed around.
The Xbox 360 had the best game lineup and community. That original interface was just oozing fun and friends.
Oh yeah.
And then there was the Wii. This little
Switch.
white box had Wii Sports, Brawl,
Wait, no,
and
not the
Super
Switch.
Mario
The
Galaxy.
Wii.
Those games were awesome. I don't remember
Yeah.
playing much else since most Wii games were
Bro, most of the time you just chilled out on Wii Sports and you just played this the whole time. Like the boxing, baseball, bowling.
kind of gimmicky, but it was still tons of fun and the commercials were great.
We would like to play.
This generation was fiery hot. Every console had something unique about it and the sales were neck and neck. This generation ended up being incredibly important because this was the last real battle of the console war where consoles duked it out, each with their own personality and value. When consoles were at their peak.
Yeah, the Xbox had the red ring of death, and I forgot what the PlayStation had. I know the PlayStation had something. I don't remember, but they had something where like they were getting too hot. And like I don't remember, like Xbox had red ring of death, but it wasn't because it was getting too hot, I think. I know the PlayStation got way too hot, and like if you put your hand like either behind it or like underneath it, it would just be like, I remember some instances of shit burning on from the PlayStation 3.
But the next console generation would be quite different. 7 years after the 7th gen consoles were released, it was finally time to see what was coming next. And Sony announced the PS4.
Woo.
PlayStation.
The PS4 looked like a great console with all sorts of games and community-driven features. Not to mention you could use it as a media player. People were excited. People were also excited though to see the new Xbox. The 360 had been amazing, aside from the red ring of death.
Yep.
And players couldn't imagine what the Xbox announcement had in store.
Go to Internet Explorer, Skype. When you're exercising, it can read your heartbeat.
The announcement was bad. People weren't sure if this
Oh my god, I remember this was back in the day where E3 was still around. That's crazy that it's been that long.
was a console or some kind of device to watch movies and Skype your friends.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to you showing off the great work we're doing with our partners at ESPN.
I feel like Microsoft talked.
Yeah, I remember. I think I kind of remember this one. Like if, like the whole length of the Xbox speech was like from like this white thing to this white thing. The video games part would probably be about like here. It wouldn't be like a very big chunk, like maybe a fifth of it, and the rest of it was like other stuff like internet, ESPN partnership, movies, streaming, music, and all this other jazz. It was just like, okay, where's the games though?
About everything but normal games. They were so focused on being the future of family room technology, they forgot why people buy consoles in the first place. games.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Even when they
Oh, what a slap in the face. God dang.
did talk about video games, it was
Yeah, have our older product. If you like games, try our older product.
controversial because it was uncertain if you could.
Oh yeah, the whole backwards compatibility thing. That was so funny. Oh my god, this was a big hubbub about a lot of games going to always online. If you buy a game, you need to have like if you buy a game, it was impossible to play it offline or some shit on console. And at the time, this was a big thing.
Play your titles offline or even share them with your friends. Sony, of course.
And then I remember, what was it, PlayStation 4, they did a huge like insult back to Xbox, or was it Xbox to PlayStation? I forgot. No. I think PlayStation did it to Xbox, because Xbox was the one that was trying to tout the no more sharing, and then PlayStation was like, hey, this is what you guys, this is what you do if you want to share your game with your friend. And then he just handed him like a physical copy of like a disc over to like the other CEO dude, and then that was it. That was the ad. It's like, here you go. And then he's like, hey, thanks. And then that was it. It was just like a short little 30-second thing. And it was, I remember seeing that and I started busting up, dude.
Saw all of this chaos and had a little fun with the controversy.
This is how you share your
Oh,
games on
this is it. This is it.
PS4.
Sadly,
nice.
Xbox One flopped on release, and it wasn't the only one. A few months earlier, Nintendo released this horrendous thing. A console that allowed you to play games on a tablet, but you couldn't really travel with it.
Oh, I remember that.
This console wannabe handheld thing. I didn't get it.
I don't get it.
And neither did most people. It failed hard. This
Oh,
was
dang.
the first time Nintendo wasn't profitable.
Oh, the Wii U, that's what it was. I remember playing Super Smash. Was this the console I skipped? It was GameCube, Wii, and then Wii U came out, and then me and my buddies were like, nah, man, I ain't about that. So we just didn't get it. We just skipped this console. We were still playing like Super Smash Melee or Super Smash Brawl at the time.
Profitable, and the company was struggling. Everything but the PlayStation was crashing and burning. Xbox lost its identity as a gaming console, and Nintendo made a console that was trying to be a handheld.
Yeah.
Just making a normal console, Sony immediately won the battle. But the divide just got even bigger, thanks to exclusives. The amount of exclusive games PlayStation had was leaps and bounds better. Want to play Halo 4? Buy an Xbox One or just play it on the Xbox 360. Whatever,
Yeah.
who cares? Want to play any of these games? Yeah, buy a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So Sony won the battle. But unlike any other console fight, this one would have long-lasting consequences. Such an impact that the Wii U would be Nintendo's last console.
Huh?
What about the Switch?
Yeah.
People are really stupid.
The
True.
Switch isn't a console. May sound crazy, but hear me out. Let's look at the creation of the Wii U, and I think it will explain why the Switch isn't what we normally define as a home console. Since the N64, Nintendo had been in second place to the PlayStation, losing over and over. So Nintendo branched out with the Wii, no longer competing on specs, but instead taking a blue ocean approach with a focus on unique gaming experiences. It worked.
Yeah, the Nintendo brand, when compared to the Xbox and the PlayStation, was always like the casual friendly console. Like if you wanted to invite someone to like try video games for the first time, you gave them whatever the Nintendo console was at the time, because the graphics and just the sheer power of it were always like lackluster when you compared it to like the Xbox or the PlayStation.
Like I said before, the Wii was kind of gimmicky, and Nintendo knew they couldn't do the same gimmick twice. So when the new console was in ideation, leadership noticed something. Nintendo had been losing the console war to PlayStation for years, but they had been winning the handheld war. No one even came close to Nintendo's dominance.
Oh yeah, they were popping off. I had a bunch of different versions of like the Nintendo handheld. What was this? I think I didn't have the Did I have the 3DS? I didn't have a Vita. Didn't have a 3DS. Didn't have a PS3. I had a Game Boy and a Game Boy Advanced. I remember that. I didn't have a Switch, and years later I got a DS later, because I think it's still for like dual screen or something like that. My buddy had a PS Vita, but then he figured out that you could watch porn on it, so there's that.
In the handheld market. which sparked an idea. People love Nintendo handheld so much, why not package one in with the console? Someone at Nintendo had a great idea with the Wii U, but had bad execution. Instead of making a console with handheld capabilities, they needed to make a handheld with console capabilities. Sound like something? The Switch is first and foremost a handheld. It is a hybrid device for on the go that can also be plugged into a TV. And it's brilliant. Nintendo had been playing in two markets for 30 years, dividing the resources between the console and their handhelds. But with the Switch, they could focus on making great games for one platform, mobile hardware for any situation.
Yeah.
So Nintendo exited the console war in 2017, and I don't see them ever making a return, which leaves us with two.
Really?
The duopoly. For years.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that Nintendo just left. I mean, Nintendo is still like bringing out games for the Switch, no? I didn't know that they just like decided to not completely stop it, but just like no more three-way war, just a two-way war now.
Years the PlayStation and Xbox have fought for the right to say we're the best games, storage, top-of-the-line graphics, with adamant fans fighting with them. But when the Xbox One fell behind, the leaders of Microsoft gaming division realized something. This loss was going to hurt. Unlike any other console generation, this gen introduced digital games that can be played on any future console.
We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games.
So Xbox lost the most important console battle, with digital games being a driving force.
And the thing that isn't shown here is, I mean, it's a video about consoles, but you have to remember that PC is a thing and Steam is a thing. The PC/Steam market is huge. Also being into, competing for your attention in Xbox versus PlayStation versus PC. That is a thing. And yeah.
Microsoft realized they couldn't win the console war against PlayStation.
We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't...
I mean, of course you are. You guys sell similar products. Like, come on.
Really a great solution or win for us.
So they decided on a different strategy, something that would take years to implement, but it would finally put Xbox on top. There's just one problem. To be the best, Xbox would have to kill the console. Now, this is speculation. I want to make sure that is crystal clear. But if we look at the actions of Microsoft and the model they are pursuing, it makes sense to kill the console. Why? Because it's a razor and blades model. If you're not sure what that means, this is how the model works. A razor you buy at the store is sold at a loss. But razor companies do this because they recoup their money and make tons more by selling blades for a
through the
high
blades.
margin.
Okay.
Companies like Gillette.
Gotcha. You sell the console at a loss, and then you make it all up in terms of like video games when you make a video game sale. Gotcha.
To anyone that makes blades that fit their razors. Consoles are the same way. Consoles are normally sold at a loss, oftentimes a loss of hundreds of dollars per unit.
We're subsidizing that purchase somewhere between $100 and $200 with the expectation that we will recoup that investment over time.
But most console companies make back their money with publishing fees and first-party games. So whoever is winning the console war is selling more games, which minimizes those console costs and makes the console company way more money because of all the blades or games they're selling. But if you are losing the console war and people aren't buying your hardware and games, your costs can kill you. Which is why so many companies have dropped out of the industry or died competing. It can cost billions of dollars to develop
that was
a
the thing.
Your costs can kill you.
What was it? Where was it? Go back.
Take back their money with publishing fees and first-party games. So whoever is winning the console war is selling more games, which minimizes those console costs. And makes the console company way more money because of all the blades or games they're selling. But if you are losing the console war and people aren't buying your hardware and games, your costs can kill you. Which is why so many companies have...
Yeah, Soulja Boy, there was a brief stint of Soulja Boy, the rapper, coming out with his own console. That was a meme, and I thoroughly did not believe it until I saw it myself. That was crazy. I forgot, what did it look like? I forgot what the heck it looked like. But, oh my god. This was like a meme and a half, if I ever heard one, dude.
Dropped out of the industry or died competing. it can cost billions of dollars to develop a console, and you have to develop a new one every 5 to 8 years, restarting the process and going back into the red.
Yeah.
So as the consistent loser in the console war, Microsoft had every incentive to kill the console. And the first step in accomplishing their goal was to buy Minecraft.
They're buying Minecraft for $2.5 billion.
Oh my God.
At the time, many thought this acquisition was an odd choice. If Microsoft was trying to save the Xbox One, why buy Minecraft and then not make it an exclusive, keeping it available on every platform, including your rival PlayStation? But as we know now, this wasn't Microsoft's plan. Following the Minecraft purchase, more acquisitions were made. Studios like ZeniMax Bethesda for $8 billion and Activision Blizzard for $69 billion.
Bro, that's crazy. Oh yeah, I remember this. The Microsoft, the Blizzard acquisition into Microsoft or Activision Blizzard. There's so many just companies. It's like it starts to get ridiculous as a gamer to try to like keep up with all these. But I remember Activision Blizzard and then Microsoft buying it, and everyone's like, "Oh, is World of Warcraft going to be on the Game Pass now? That's going to be crazy." But it's not yet. I don't think it'll ever be.
With more promises that most games wouldn't be Xbox exclusives. Xbox fans saw all these studio purchases in the beginning and thought, this is it. All these great games will revive the Xbox console. But according to Phil Spencer, that's not true.
I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true.
So oh dang. Just build good games and the gamers will come. That's crazy. I mean, he's probably, it's the main thing that I see that is attractive for a console is literally just the exclusives. That's literally the only reason to own a console now. Just the game exclusives. Because if a lot of games try to be on like as many, like a game dev's goal is to be on as many platforms as possible so that they can get the most, like most people have like view like eyes on their game because that's just what they want. But consoles have a built-in market where if you make a game exclusive on one console, it will 100% get seen because Sony or Microsoft will peddle the hell out of it.
Microsoft spent over $80 billion on game studios, and it's not to regain console share, but for building the Netflix of gaming. This was the first step in Microsoft's plan to become the new market leader and kill the console, to create the best gaming subscription service, and so far, I'd argue they are the best. Game Pass is cheap and it's versatile. It's got great games and exclusives. It's got some issues, don't get me wrong, but Game Pass can be played on almost any device.
Oh dang, that's crazy, dude. I did not realize that. Like, I don't own any consoles, like, currently. But if I were to, I'd probably own an Xbox.
Not to mention, it's readily available.
Like, doesn't PlayStation have something similar to this?
Available on every Windows PC, which, by the way, has 1.4 billion units worldwide. And this mass market reach highlights the second step of Microsoft's plan. Make gaming, or more specifically, Game Pass accessible everywhere. In the most recent Microsoft leak, this photo was released.
Oh, yeah. Xbox Gaming Beyond. Like, look at all this shit, dude. Holy crap. Like, there's a browser, a mobile, smart. You can play on your smart TV. You can play on low to mid-end PC, 3D streaming sticks, and set-top boxes, whatever this is. You can play on a cloud device. Like, what the heck is a cloud device? Bro, I live in a bubble. You can play on a handheld. What is this? Like, supposed to be like a phone? Or no? You can play on consoles, you can play on high-end PC, and you can play on Cloud Blade. What is this? Is this like a least technologically advanced to most technologically advanced? What's the Cloud Blade? And then, wait, designed for Xbox, designed for Xbox. Okay. There's a one-handed controller, a mobile controller, audio, the core, the premium, the elite. Oh, yeah. Bro, this thing ain't even that good, to be fair. Like, the buttons stick. I mean, yeah, it's nice that you can, like, remove the thumbsticks and tweak the what do you call it? The stick stiffness. but and it comes with like shorter sticks or longer sticks, and it's just like, yeah, that's nice, but bro, the bumpers suck. And then the gaming keyboard and mouse. Oh my goodness, the Xbox gaming keyboard and mouse. Oh, didn't I just watch a video about like zimming? And it's like, you don't need a zim when the console just provides you with a keyboard and mouse. That's so funny, dude.
Showing the future of Xbox hardware. And according to this Xbox infographic, the future is every device. TVs, phones, laptops, streaming sticks, cloud devices. Consoles on there, but it's not the focus. Per the leaks, the next mid-gen Xbox console to release will be all digital. And the next generation console is said to be a hybrid, combining the power of the client and the cloud. So the future of gaming is going to be everywhere and on everything. But why is Microsoft still making consoles if this is the future? Well, because technology isn't good enough yet, and we still need consoles. We saw what happened with Google Stadia. Gaming isn't ready to go to the cloud completely, nor are gamers. It takes time to move the market.
Gamers say goodbye to Google Stadia as platform shuts.
This is why Microsoft is doing a hybrid console in 2028.
Oh,
we still need
a hybrid console. What does that mean, a hybrid?
Adequate hardware to run higher fidelity games, especially online games. But it is getting better. I've been streaming tons of old Xbox 360 games and indie games on my iPhone 13. And with the launch of the iPhone 15 Pro, you can now play modern games like Resident Evil Village. But what's even more amazing is that you can use your phone to play Resident Evil with ray tracing on your TV with a PlayStation controller.
That's
you
crazy.
Can have a console in your pocket. $700 console, but this is where the industry is going. Why buy a console when your phone can do the job? Or even better, if your TV can. Microsoft recently partnered with Samsung.
This is probably catered towards like the casual gamer too, because I would say most people are casual gamers. And then just yeah. But the second you feel like you start liking a game, you want like a bigger screen. I mean, you could get like just get on there, like connect it from your phone to the TV or whatever. So there's that, but dang, that's crazy.
You can now stream games directly onto your TV. Stating in 2022, if you're new to gaming, this is an easy way to get into the fun without needing to buy a PC or console. So Microsoft bought up all sorts of video game IP, and they are making their games accessible on everything. But one last obstacle has been standing in Microsoft's way: the console war with PlayStation.
Yep.
Microsoft needed to get people to stop fighting over consoles and start fighting over subscription services. And a golden opportunity presented itself in 2017 with the release of Fortnite. You see, in 2018, you can play Fortnite with your friends across any platform. PC to PlayStation, PC to mobile, Xbox to mobile, except one. You couldn't play Xbox to PlayStation. Crossplay between consoles wasn't possible. But if anyone remembers, crossplay between consoles was available for a hot minute in 2017. When Fortnite released, Epic Games accidentally turned on crossplay between consoles.
Bro, what? How do you accidentally turn that on, dude? Like, you make a whole function around it, and then you just create like a switch, an on-off switch, but then you just leave it off.
Epic claimed it was a bug, and crossplay was fixed, but players weren't dumb. We saw what was possible, and the cat was out of the bag. Cross-platform play between consoles was totally on the table.
Yeah.
It was literally just a click of a mouse away.
Crossplay between PlayStation 4 and Xbox One is very easy to execute.
But Sony didn't like that. As the console leader, you don't want cross-platform play with your competitors.
No.
Online exclusivity was a core tenet of the hardware at the time, and it helped
essential
PlayStation dominate Xbox.
Play together on our console. That's funny.
If you can only play games with your friends on the PlayStation Network, then your friends are going to buy a PlayStation, not an Xbox.
Yeah.
But if you eliminate that exclusivity, you remove a reason to buy a PlayStation or even a console. So Phil Spencer and Xbox saw this crossplay drama as their way forward, with Phil Spencer stating in a tweet he would have liked to see Epic Games leave it on, referring, of course, to cross-platform play with PlayStation. So players, companies, and...
Oh, dang. That's crazy that Phil would, like, tweet that out. I wish they left it on.
Spencer were all asking PlayStation to turn on crossplay, putting Sony in a pickle. But it got even worse when Fortnite.
Xbox was the first one to look like the good guy, be like, turn it on, leave it on. So they kind of made Sony look like a dumbass for like, oh, we're okay with it, but Sony's the one you gotta convince. Sony's the big business meanies. They're the ones that don't want to play. That's funny.
It was released for the Switch. At the release, Nintendo and Microsoft partnered up. From Minecraft to Fortnite, most multiplayer games were being launched as cross-platform. Nintendo, of all companies, was partnering with Microsoft, and people were outraged with PlayStation for not joining forces. The
That's
tension
so
was
funny.
high, and Sony was backed into a corner. Finally, 2 years after Fortnite was launched, Sony relented. They'd agreed to open their internet blockade. Gamers could now play with each other on any platform and on any device. It was glorious.
Better together.
But by removing player exclusivity on consoles, crossplay destroyed the reason for a console war.
Yeah. Crossplay is great for players, but bad for the companies. So, I mean, essentially it's a consumer, it's a buyer's market, seller's market? I think it's a buyer's market.
Why fight over which console is better when we can all play together? Yeah, specs were still important, but most people understood Xbox and PlayStation are basically the same technologically.
Yeah.
And if you really care about specs, you were part of the PC master race.
Yeah.
Silly console peasants!
The only thing that still matters is exclusives. But with the introduction of all these cross-platform subscriptions, we won't get console exclusives in the near future. Now, fans, of course, have still fought over which console is better.
Bro, like, console fanboys are ridiculous. There's not one that's like better or one's a little better, a little worse. It's whatever. It don't matter, dude.
The battle flag flying for years after the Fortnite charade. But Microsoft put a stop to that and officially ended the war in June 2023.
Oh, really? God dang. They had the boys up there.
In their lawsuit against the FTC, Xbox has lost the console wars. Microsoft surrendered.
What? Xbox and Activision both faced intense competition. Xbox has lost the console war, and its rivals are positioned to continue to dominate, including by leveraging exclusive content. Xbox has consistently ranked third in consoles behind PlayStation and Nintendo.
They waved the white flag, and it surprised everyone. No one has ever admitted to losing the console war. Not in television, not Sega, not Nintendo, not even the KFC oven console. They just moved.
Oh my god, I remember that was a thing. Oh my god. Can I get some chicken with my game?
Console. They just moved on or died. But Microsoft admitted they lost because they don't care anymore. The home console isn't the future and they know it. Which is also why Sony was so strongly against the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Sony's CEO knew that Microsoft would not exclude Call of Duty and most other games from PlayStation. He knew this acquisition would do little to affect PlayStation games in the near future. But Sony tried to block this acquisition because they fear what's coming next.
Yeah, Sony tried to block the buy in this. This was so funny, dude. Oh my god.
Future of cloud gaming without consoles, which is what the Activision Blizzard lawsuit was really about. Change is the bane of all industry leaders. Just like Kodak, who had 95% of the photography market, and then went bankrupt because they didn't shift to digital. Or Blockbuster, who could have bought Netflix for $50 million.
Really? Blockbuster could have bought Netflix for 50 mil, but the CEO thought it was a joke. Oh my god, that's so funny, dude.
But didn't because they were focused on brick and mortar. It's hard to innovate when you're at the top. So if you're Sony, you want the console to survive and thrive. You don't want to compete against Microsoft on new terrain. Sony loses out on all these revenue streams when the console dies, and they'll have to fight to stay dominant, competing no longer in the console wars, but in the cloud wars.
You know, yeah, that's crazy. Like, more and more people have just iPads. Well, not necessarily just iPads, but like things that are like an iPad as well, like either your phone or anything like that, like a touch screen. It's crazy how popular those are.
This is good for gamers. Competition brings variety. New competitors like Nvidia will be able to compete, and new hardware will be introduced.
Wait, Nvidia came out with a console?
Sadly for Sony, consoles are not the future of gaming, and they know it. They just want to extend the console's lifecycle as long as possible, unlike Microsoft. Year after year, Microsoft has been slowly knocking down the pillars that hold up the console. Hardware accessibility, player exclusivity, lower entry cost. Consoles are no longer the go-to gaming hardware. You don't need a $400 console to play games with your friends like you did in the past. Because of the market shift, gaming is expanding across the globe at insane rates. and the majority of countries don't have consoles or need them. China is becoming one of the biggest gaming markets in the world.
Really?
Consoles
Yeah, but I just saw like in this screen, like these are all like, are these all not computers?
gaming markets in the world, and consoles.
Yeah, everyone's on like keyboard and mouse right there.
Were banned there till 2016.
Oh, that was a thing.
In the world, and consoles were.
China officially ends ban on video game consoles. Or what was it? They had like, China had a thing where you couldn't buy or play video games. Or no. You couldn't play video games for like more than an hour a day. But then on like weekends, you could play for like what? Like a little bit longer. If you were like under 16 or under 18, you had to abide by those rules. But then when you were over 18, it's like, okay, just do whatever.
Were banned there till 2016. Banned externally by the US because of their military use, and they were banned internally by the Chinese government.
What is up with China banning youth gaming? Oh yeah, that was it. They didn't, did they ban it completely, or did they just reduce it to only like an hour a day?
Not wanting their youth to play video games. So the console market in China only makes up 0.1% of all gaming.
That's tiny.
PCs have also been the dominant gaming hardware in Korea since the 90s because of PC bongs. And think about India. They have the largest population in the world, and the gaming market is growing rapidly there. But what platform do you think they're
Yeah, look at all these like PCs. They got their like towers like just chilling up there. They got their like monitors and shit.
Games on. Consoles aren't nearly as accessible in India as they have been in the West, but they have phones.
Oh yeah, bro, why are you using this clip, dude? It's such a damning clip.
They're going to play games on. Consoles aren't nearly as accessible in India as they have been in the.
This is the word.exe clip. One of these motherfuckers were cheating, and I think it was this guy. He brought like some cheater to like, or this was Optic. Yeah, this dude was suspected of having cheats on his computer, but then the official came over and he like looked at it, and then I think he brought like a thumb drive and he just like slipped it in or whatever. And then when he went to look at it, he saw something that was like labeled word.exe or some shit, but it wasn't Word. It was like the cheats. Why you gotta show this clip, Indy?
The West, but they have phones, TVs, and computers readily available. What platforms do you think game developers will want to develop for? Consoles? No way. It doesn't make sense. You can reach a much bigger audience on other platforms at a much lower cost.
What does everybody already have? Everybody already has a phone. So you just have to figure out how to make the phone the main device of interaction between like your game that you're offering and the phone or the person's phone.
Do I think consoles will completely die out and go away? No, I don't. But I think they will be a fraction of what they are today, a smaller group of people in the world that want top-tier family room computing. Basically just buying a computer for their family room. But having a dedicated gaming device for your TV just isn't needed anymore, or at least it won't be soon. So will Sony and Microsoft keep making consoles? I assume they will for the next 5, 10, 15 years. After that, it's foggy. 2028 is looking to be the bridge between eras. Hybrid consoles to bring us to the future. Little by little, consoles and the console market are decreasing, replaced by hybrid technology, cloud gaming, and subscription services. The console almost died 40 years ago, and its resurrection in the 80s brought us some amazing memories.
Yeah. Bro, honestly, this was me when I got my N64. I got an N64 on my birthday, and this was literally me. I was like yelling and screaming. I was like, no way.
But unless something changes, I believe the console as we know it is becoming a thing of the past. Hybrid consoles, cloud hardware, phones, and TVs. This is the future of gaming. Signs all point to the death of the home console. It's sad to say, but it's also exciting. Now, a lot of this is speculation. Gaming is changing constantly, and it's hard to predict the future, especially 10 plus years out. But whether I'm wrong or right, I'm fascinated by the future of gaming, and I'm thrilled to see what will come next. Thanks everyone for joining. This week, I want to highlight our Discord community. We are now doing monthly challenges and weekly events, all centered around building a successful indie studio. So if you are an aspiring indie developer or just someone interested in indie games, come join our Discord. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Dang. I didn't really realize consoles were like going out of style. That's kind of crazy to think about because, like, I mean, I know me personally, I haven't played like a console in, I don't know, like years. Like the last console I owned was probably like an Xbox 360. I never owned an Xbox One or any of the PlayStations. I always just went to my friend's house to just play that stuff. But you know, hey, we're all adults now. All of my friends are out doing adulting things. So I'm just sitting here on my computer, just watching shit and playing like shit off Steam. So I mean, it is what it is. But I don't know. Are consoles going extinct? Probably. Who knows what's gonna come out next and be the next device of choice to like play video games. But no, I thought this was a good video. I liked it 100%, dude. This was great. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.